Hey guys, it's Marc from Sattui coming at you with this month's Wine of the Month Club recipe, my Chile-Rubbed Flank Steak with Creamy White Polenta. It's going to be the perfect pairing with our Gilsson Vineyard Zinfandel from Russian River Valley. Get yourself a nice, beautiful cut of flank steak into the bowl. And of course, gotta have some fresh garlic. And now that summertime is here, it's the perfect opportunity to rev up the grill. So here we are in the backyard. Now just a nice rough chop on the garlic is going to be perfect for this beautiful marinade. So we can't have chili-rubbed flank steak without chilies. In most common supermarkets, you can find Serrano chilies. It's about twice or three times as spicy as a jalapeno. So it's going to be really important that we make sure that we get the seeds and the ribs or the stems out of the inside of these chilies. And I'm going to use 3 Serrano chilies and just splitting them down lengthwise. And then we will be able to just run the knife down them and get all of those little veins, which those seeds are clinging to. I think it's really going to highlight this dish, and the dish will highlight the wine equally. We're just going to do a nice slice across ways here. So run the knife through this a few times, break up these chilies, start to get all those oils coming out. All right, we can go right into our marinade bowl as it were. So olive oil, and we always want to use a nice local, if you can, of course, extra virgin olive oil for marinades. Of course, we need a couple pinches of salt and a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. Now, not a lot, but we do want just another kind of layer of spiciness to the dish, because pairing them with these spicy wines, you will actually find both the dish and the wine appear a little bit less spicy, but all of the other flavors can come out and play from behind that. Just work that around, coat that flank steak on both sides. And this is going to go, like I said, in the refrigerator for just a couple of hours and let all of these beautiful flavors soak into this meat. So now that our flank steak's been in the refrigerator for, about an hour and a half, it would be time to start thinking about getting that creamy white polenta started. So in goes chicken stock, and you want to have this at a nice, low to medium boil, and then slowly add and whisk in your grits or white polenta. And you can always have a little bit of extra chicken stock standing by if you think you need to thin that out a little bit. And you're going to want to stir your polenta, once every couple of minutes, just to make sure and to ensure that it's not sticking to the bottom of your pan. All right, guys, so about a half an hour into your polenta cooking, you're going to want to get that flank steak going on the grill. And again, like I said, just make sure there's not a puddle of oil in there. We want to just let the majority of it drip to the side. And then, over a medium heat of coals here, or if you're using propane, God forbid, just messing with you, put that down like low, medium, low. Now, one of the other tricks I learned, if you want to tame the flame a little bit, is just lay a couple of ice cubes over the problem areas. And of course, as they melt away, they're going to give you a little bit of fire extinguishing power. Now the flank steak, just depending upon the thickness, of course, but generally speaking, it's going to take about 3 to 5 minutes per side, that is. And I'm just going to give it one 45-degree turn before I flip it so that I get some nice crisscross grill marks on here. Now it's time to flip. Now it's time to do one more of those 45-degree turns. Just make sure we get even cooking and get a little bit of crisscross going on with our grill marks. But at this point, we need to finish our white polenta. And this is absolutely the creamy part of it. So we're gonna put in our half cup of mascarpone cheese and the half cup of grated Parmesan Reggiano. And because that doesn't seem creamy enough to me, I think we need another layer with a little bit more extra virgin olive oil. And of course, just whisk this in. All this cheese is gonna melt in perfectly. And that will let all the beautiful fruit sing in that wine. The last minute, I like to put the lid on the barbecue so that all that smoke stays inside and just starts to absorb up into that meat. Now, just before that minute is up, it gives us time to make a fancy garnish. And all you're gonna need is a bowl of ice water and 1 scallion. And you're going to just snip off the root end of the scallion and slice through just this bottom portion, only the white portion, and go all the way through. And then you're gonna run your knife lengthwise down the scallion so that it splits it open into 2. Turn it over so that then you can slice all the way through it again to split it into 4 pieces. This is going to go into the ice water. And while that's sitting there for just a minute, it is time for our flank steak to come off of the grill. And as I mentioned, we are gonna let this rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Beautiful. Ah, I can smell the aromas, actually the sweet, fruity, and smoky aromas from the grilled chilies. All right, you guys, it's time to do the plate up. Now, a piece of meat, no matter which cut it is, will always have what they call the grain, and that's almost like looking at the grain in wood. It's always gonna be running in a line. And so what you wanna do is cut cross grain, and that's gonna help break up the fibers of the muscle and make it more tender when you actually put it into your mouth. So completely cross grain, and if you can, on a bias or on the angle. Oh, beautiful. And we're gonna grab our creamy white polenta. Get a nice lay a few pieces of our flank steak. Now you remember that fancy garnish I promised you. After just a minute in that ice water, it'll curl up on itself. It makes a beautiful piece you can lay over the top. And then we're just gonna finish the dish with a nice drizzle of balsamic vinegar. So this purpose is to add some nice fruitiness up front. And of course, some of the polenta. Now let's go back to the wine. Absolutely perfect. The tannins are so soft and gentle, yet the flavor is so much more fruit forward. This is what tames down reds and makes them so much more enjoyable in this type of weather. So cheers, salute, bon appetito. I'll see you guys next month.